In this video, we are going to talk about vector masks. So you might have already been using vector masks without knowing it, because when you work in the viewport, say you select a point and move it, you are actually creating a vector mask, a vector mask without even probably knowing it. Because when the node is created that actually performs the move, there is a mask parameter, which you can come up here and you can go click on this pencil, for instance, and you can come back and you can actually change what the selection is. Press return or enter, and it will update. And it now uses this point to move. You can come in, you can change it again, you can make whatever kind of selection you want, and it will update. So that's how vector masks are used, and many vector nodes use a mask to tell the node what points or what component to act upon. So let's see another instance. So let's say we do a chamfer. So we want to round a point. So that works the same way. It creates a mask, which is stored in here. We can go in and we can change it, and it updates accordingly. If you wanted to chamfer all the points, you can come in and just press this select all option, and that will chamfer every point. The input, what is it called? The input selection will take whatever selection is being input from the previous node and use that. The star node doesn't have a selection, so it currently isn't doing anything. But what we can do is this plus button here lets you create what I call kind of procedural mask generation nodes. So that handles the creation of the mask for you. So in this instance, let's say we want a mask angle. So what this node does is it looks at the angle that the lines are making coming in and going out of points, and if it meets this threshold, it will select that point. And it also gives the mask a name, which is currently called angle. And now because the chamfer node is using the input selection, it is using the selection made by this mask angle node to tell it which points to chamfer. So that's very powerful, because if you were to come in here and say change the point count of the star, whereas previously you'd have to go back and reselect, every point that you want to chamfer, because it's procedurally using the angle, it handles it all for you. If you wanted to, you could invert it if you wanted to select, every point on the outside. So that's what these various procedural nodes will do. And you notice that when I created the mask angle, it inserted it in the graph right before the node that I was working with. Now say we were to come in here and after or with the mask angle selected, we select a point and move it around. It's going to change which point is chamfered, because now the node feeding into the chamfer, this is the selection that is being used, because we're still using this input selection. If we wanted to, because this mask angle has a name, it is storing it within the actual vector shape. So we can access that through this button here, which is embedded selections, which are embedded in the shape. So now we can come in and we could select the angle again, and it uses that no matter what the input being, whatever selection is being fed in, it will just disregard that and just use the whatever mask we specify here. Of course, we can go back, and if we wanted, we could still do a manual selection, like so, and it updates. Or we can go back to angle, or you can do whatever you want, because that's the power of exothermic with its non-destructive nature. You can there are many different ways to work, and just find a way that works for you and go with it. So that should get you started with vector mass. Have fun.